2020 Board of Commissioner meetings. Please silence your cell phone, pagers, and other electronic communication devices. Agendas are located at the back of the chambers on the bookshelves. At this time, the commission now utilizes speaker request forms. If you'd like to speak on any item, please complete a speaker request form located in the bookshelves in the back of the chambers and return it to the commission office manager, Holly Hennies, located on the lower right side of the dais. Ms. Holly, if you'd raise your hand. Thank you, Ms. Holly. Next, we'll have a moment of silent reflection and pledge of allegiance led by Brian Mueller today. Thank you, Brian.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Brian. Next, we'll have the review and approval of the agenda.
So move.
Moved by Drews, second by LaCroix. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Number 5 is recognition of new employees for February 2020. We were in the commission office in the back, and we did recognize our employees. Holly, do we need to read those names or anything?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. If you want to do that, Ms. Holly?
It's in your packet. I'm sorry, I don't have the list with me.
I don't think
I
we
have
have
it.
a
I
full
can read
list there.
Okay, do you have the list? Okay,
We have
Mark
a-
DeSanto.
New employees in the Sheriff's Department, Chelsea Willett, Tyrell Miner, Meggie Espinoza Caravel, Caitlin Leasing, Matthew Wilson, Bobby Rice, and Michael Cooper. So welcome to all of you new employees.
That was probably about half.
Yeah, that's about half. We had quite a few others in there that we don't have the names for.
Yep, welcome to our team. We appreciate everybody that showed up today for us to meet. I think it's been good for the commission to meet the new employees instead of one day walk into an office and go, who are you? So ask Kira. Did I say that to you, Kira? Anyway, again, thank you for joining our team. We appreciate everybody that was there today and the people that are on our team already. So, Ms. Holly, we're on the consent agenda, please.
All right, for public notice, the Board of Commissioners uses the consent agenda to act on non-controversial and routine items. The consent agenda is acted upon by one motion and vote of the board. Items may be removed from the consent agenda and placed on the regular agenda at the request of a board member or a citizen. Today's consent agenda contains the following items: approval of the minutes from the regular meeting of February 18th, 2020. Number 7 is to acknowledge the signed combined election agreement for the primary election to be held on June 2nd, 2020 from the City of Hill City, the City of Rapid City, and the Rapid City School District 54-1. Number 8 is to acknowledge the notice of intent to conduct a raffle submitted by the Rochford Rural Fire Association. Number 9 is to acknowledge the notice of intent to conduct a raffle submitted by the Crescent Lodge 210. Number 10 is to accept the recommendation for appointment of Ms. Joyce Halbert to the Pennington County Housing and Redevelopment Commission for a term of 5 years. And finally, number 11 is approval of the request for authorization to reapply for the VOCA and Stop VAWA grants submitted by the State's Attorney's Office.
Thank you, Ms. Holly. At this time, are there any members of the public who wish to remove any items from the consent agenda? If not, is there any commissioners who would like to remove any items from the consent agenda? If not,
Madam Chair, I'd make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
moved by Drews,
Second?
second by DeSanto to approve the consent agenda. Any discussion?
One note, Rapid City School District is 51-4, not 54-1.
Did I say it backwards?
Okay, thank you.
But it's written correctly on the minutes.
Thank you. So all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Next, we're on regular agenda items 12 through 16. First, we'll have number 12, presentation of Adopt a Highway Program Certificate of Appreciation, Ms. Kira. And Superintendent Joe Miller.
Morning, Commission. Joe Miller, Pennington County Highway.
Ms. Kira?
Good morning, Commissioners. Kira Gephardt, Administrative Assistant for the Highway Department.
Welcome.
We are here this morning to recognize our Adopt a Highway volunteers and the hard work that they do in keeping our roads clean. In 2019, we had 54 organizations participate, and they cleaned just over 118 miles of Pennington County roads. All 54 groups were invited to come to the meeting this morning, and 13 of them were able to attend. With that, I would like to begin the presentation of the certificates.
Thank you, Ms. Kira.
'28 AMXS,
Well, if you'd come up to the dais, so Kira can give you a certificate.
Have them stand there so
Go ahead and stay up here if you would.
28 MXS of Ellsworth Air Force Base. Air Force Sergeants Association. Black Hills Energy.
Buddy, see, he didn't take your place today.
Cosmopolitan Club. The Hargens family. Phi Eta Sigma South Dakota School of Mines and Technology.
we can have them.
South Dakota Fraternal Order of Police Lodge 2. South Dakota School of Mines and Technology student members of the American Chemical Society. The Daniel family, Jack, Annie, Lucy, and Jace.
Nice.
True North Steel. Western Dakota Insurers. And WL Plastics.
If everybody'd like to come to the back of the dais here, we appreciate it. Again, that was 54 organizations who participated in Adopt a Highway program in 2019. They picked up the trash along a total of 118.12 miles of county road. And at this time, if anybody would like to volunteer, we do have currently 6.37 miles on 3 roads that are available for adoption. And we'd like to thank everybody that came today and for helping us with our highways. That's a huge difference that you make when you volunteer for our county roads. Thank you.
Everybody's gonna have to really squeeze together.
Okay, you guys are gonna have to get in front of each other, kind of go towards the dais, get in front of each other. Let's organize this chair. We'll let you guys go up front, the commission can go behind you guys. Go ahead and stand up. There you go. We'll stand behind you.
Down to the other end.
You go for it. There you go.
Help you out a little bit.
There we go. You wanna go get my seat cushion?
You guys are funny.
Man, this one's warm.
Must have been because I'm overheating. Okay. Next, we're on item 13, and that's items from equalization, please. Might as well keep that off.
Good morning, Shannon Ritberger, Director of Equalization. There's only one abatement request in front of you today, and this is a veteran who was deployed over the deadline to apply for owner occupied. The law allows the commission to grant an abatement in that situation.
Thank you. Do we have a motion, please?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Roskinick,
Second?
second by DeSanto. Any discussion?
Is Eric here by chance?
I don't know. I doubt it. I told him that I would present it to the commission.
Okay, thank you. So we have a motion by Roskinick, second by DeSanto. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Thank you.
Thanks.
Next is items from Highway Department. First would be the 2020 Bridge Reinspection Program Resolution. Your name,
Good
sir?
morning, Commission. Joe Miller with Pennington County Highway. First up there, you got your bridge inspections. This year, we again selected KLJ to do our annual bridge inspections. We currently have 127 bridges on our inventory, of which we do half each year. They've got to be inspected on a biannual basis. We were very pleased with KLJ's work last year and their professionalism and their reports that we've got. And we requested some changes this year, and they were accepted those with open arms. So they're currently doing the design on Rochford Road Bridge. We currently spend about $10,000 a year out of the highways budget on this, which is about 10% of the total cost. There's a program with the DOT that DOT pays for a portion of that cost as well. So 2019, we spent $15,000, and then 2018 we spent $9,400. So it did go up a little bit last year, but we're confident that it should stay right around there.
Thank you. Do we have any discussion or motion, please?
Madam Chair.
Commissioner LaCroy?
Joe, this is for inspection for 59 bridges, and how do you determine which bridges need to be, is it on a cycle?
It's on a 2-year cycle. The federal law mandates that we have to inspect our bridges every 2 years.
Okay.
So that's every year we just inspect half of them. So that's why they're on a 2-year cycle.
Because that's what it looks like, it's just a little under half is what they're inspecting. And out of those, I'm just want to double check. You know, last I heard, we had 28 that needed to be replaced. We're in pretty,
21 are structurally deficient.
21 are structurally in, okay. Now, are those ones on the list?
To be inspected. They should be, yes. All of our bridges have to be inspected. There's a couple that are inspected on a yearly basis, the Rochford Road Bridge being one of those. And there's a couple others on that list as well. I don't recall which ones, though.
Okay, so some do get, the ones that are in pretty tough shape get inspected yearly?
Yes.
Okay. Thanks.
Thank you. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Roskinick, second by Drews. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Next, if I can have a point of privilege, we do have a young man that's here that missed the Adopt a Highway. We'd like to recognize him today. Miss Kira, if you'd come back up for us. Thank you.
Air Force Sergeants Association.
You guys want to go down one more time? Thank you for your service. Good job, Paul. Got one more set coming. I ain't got that mother no tell yet.
Thank you for that.
We appreciate that. We just wanted to make sure we got the young men recognized. All right, Joseph.
Okay,
14B.
next up, we've got authorization to purchase one new mowing tractor. We received proposals from both RDO and Butler here in town. As you'll see there, we're recommending the purchase of the Massey Ferguson tractor for a number of different reasons. Though this tractor is $510.32 more expensive than the John Deere. Our mechanic and myself and Mark have some concerns with some concerns with the John Deere tractor. First concern is the visibility with the side deck out mowing. John Deere has a DPF filter that is right in the way of looking out towards the front of that mowing tractor. We had Mike, our foreman, who did an awful lot of mowing for us before he came foreman. Went and took a look at the Massey Ferguson versus the 2016 John Deere tractors that we do have. And visibility, he preferred the Massey. Don't have to lean out around to see the front of that tractor or front of that mowing deck. The second concern is RDO is going away from the large. They've sold their dealership for the large John Deere agriculture equipment. They'll only be able to do warranty work on the machine until 2021, which will leave a year after we get this tractor in June or July or August. Would basically leave us a year with warranty that we wouldn't know what we're going to get. And then with that, John Deere is still able to sell these type of tractors to government entities through Sourcewell pricing. That's the reason they quoted it. And then third, Dan, our shop foreman, has some concerns with parts availability. It was stated they won't be able to stock the parts in Rapid City. They would have to get their parts from another store, one of their other dealers that do sell the John Deere tractors of this size. With that, the total price for the mower and the tractor is $136,778. So with that, I'll stand for any questions.
Madam Chair, I'd make a motion that we make the purchase from Butler Machinery Company in the amount of $136,778.
Motion by Drews,
Second?
second by DeSanto. Discussion, please.
Madam Chair.
Commissioner LaCroy.
Joe, thanks for doing all that research. I think the visibility is a big deal for me because these people are going to be on them all day long for doing quite a bit of work. And so the amount of work that you guys put into researching this is greatly appreciated.
Absolutely, yeah. You can, as Mark says, you can move a lot of snow with a mowing tractor. Yeah. So
Thank
we
you.
have a lot of miles, 836 miles that we've got to mow twice a year. So
Yeah.
And that visibility factor is huge when it comes to keeping down the damage and that kind of stuff, not only to our equipment, but to the surrounding things that are on the road.
absolutely.
Good deal.
Thank you, Commissioner DeSanto. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Item C, please.
Okay, and I should have got you a copy of this before. The copy of the quote that you guys have actually they didn't put the heater on it, the diesel heater. So we switched some things around. We actually took off the hydraulic vac and then the strong arm, which we felt was not needed. The new price on it is $100,921. I just wanted to inform you of that. I apologize for putting the wrong one in there. Was caught after we'd already submitted the board packet. So with that, this machine has been needed for a number of years. It's a very versatile machine. first off, we need it. We can use it to stay compliant with our MS4, the municipality separate storm sewer system, stormwater permit that's required that we maintain. I think Brittany's office has been maintaining that as part of their plan. We'll be purchasing this out of our drainage reserve fund, of which we have approximately $416,000 in still. By purchasing one of these, we'll be able to save the county money in all of these aspects. We have a number of drop inlets out in the Rapid Valley area that need to be cleaned. Last time we tried to get them cleaned was when I first came on board, and there's only one contractor in town that was willing to do it, and they didn't have the time to do it. So we can do that. The last time we had them cleaned was about $9,000. And then we'll also be able to, when we're doing locating or replacing culverts or digging in ditches or anything like that, we'll be able to pothole and find location or communication lines, so we don't strike any of those and cost us money as well. And the biggest thing here is to be able to clear frozen culverts and plugged culverts. Last year we had quite the issue with frozen culverts after one of our March blizzards. So this with the hydrovac will allow us to unthaw those in a timely manner and get water flowing, and also clean plugged culverts. The last time we had our couple culverts, plugged culverts cleaned by Quinn Construction, cost us about $1,200 a culvert. And we've got, a little over 4,000 culverts total in the county. So
How many?
a little over 4,000.
Oh,
So, and then we'll also be able to clean our pits in the shops. So we've got the wash bay, and then we've got sand catches and dirt catches in the shop. We'll also be able to clean those. That usually costs us about $3,300 a year to clean those. And I realized that this wasn't a part of our original equipment purchase plan for 2020, but we did put it in there for our 2020 budget. So that'll stand for any questions.
can you tell me that total one more time?
The total is $100,921.
Okay, thank you.
Madam Chair.
Commissioner LaCroy.
First, Joe, I want to thank you for your foresight on this piece of equipment for how much it's going to save us countywide and dealing with our drainage problems that we do have. I think it's the foresight to look ahead and seeing, it may see it like an initial high cost now, but I think I don't know if you guys figured out what it's going to save us, where we're going to get our money back within a certain amount, how much time, but cleaning out the culverts and finding the lines and doing all that's going to really save the county taxpayers a lot of money as far as trying to contract out when it's limited. I've seen one of these in action, and then I think the purpose of which you guys are going to use it, and I've seen your guys' shop, how you maintain the shop and your equipment. I think this is going to be a good purchase for our county, and I just appreciate the foresight to be able to look forward to see that piece of machinery and how it could save us money and be more productive. It's going to make us more productive as a county. So.
Absolutely.
Madam Chair?
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner DeSanto, please.
Just figuring out at $1,200 a culvert, it'll take us 81 out of the 4,000 culverts to pay for this piece of equipment. So I appreciate you making a great purchase for the taxpayer.
Thank you, Joe. Do we have a motion, please?
Move for approval.
Moved by LaCroy, second by Drews. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Item 15, thank you, Joe. A public hearing for proposed ordinance number 713, a temporary zoning ordinance regulating vacation home rentals, 1-year moratorium. Commissioner Ross Connect.
Madam Chair, relative to the amount of feedback that I'm getting on this item, I'm requesting a continuance until the April 21st, 2020 meeting to allow me more time to visit with our planning and zoning department and the other commissioners.
So we have a motion to continue by Ross Connect. Do we have a second for discussion?
Second?
Second by Drews. And anybody from the public that would like to speak on this today? Sir? Just state your name, sir.
Morning, Commissioners. I'm Marshall McKaylee. Property manager of Edelweiss Mountain Lodging. If there's anything that we can do as well to help, I know there was a subcommittee put together going through this scenario for about 2 years now and did the best they could to rewrite rules and regulations pertaining to the rentals of properties. Unfortunately, the expansion of property rentals are here. It's going to continue. I think a lot of individuals are ill-informed on doing what is right when renting out properties. A lot of them do it illegally, and it's hard to catch them. And I know that I'm trying to work with some of the real estate agencies, working with the CEs, and allowing to pass on the information of letting them know that there are rules and regulations before buying a property. And so I think a lot of it is just communication with different entities. So saying that, we are here to help in any way. If there's anything we can pass to
Madam
you,
Chair.
that would help.
I thank you, sir.
A question for Marshall.
Oh, sir.
Marshall, so
Drews.
just so I understand, you handle rentals or you own vacation home rentals?
Both.
Both, okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Very
Up on by Pactola Lake area.
Okay.
Just in that vicinity, though. That's kind of the only
Okay.
area we take care of. So.
Okay,
Madam
thank
Chair.
you.
Commissioner
I'd say,
Rossi.
Mark, yeah, I think whether this moratorium comes to fruition or not, I would ask that you reach out to our planning and zoning department, because one way or another, I would assume that these ordinances are going to get changed to address some of the issues that we, as commissioners, have brought in front of us.
Sure, I'll do that. Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. I was just telling Commissioner Marshall. Thank you, Marshall.
Oh, excuse me, Marshall.
You're okay. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Next, we'll have the Board of Adjustment, number 16. Do we have a motion to go into Board of Adjustment?
So
So
moved.
moved.
Moved by,
Hold on, Commissioners.
okay.
It is only 9:30.
Oh, okay.
The
think
board's
about that.
bylaws allow you to rearrange the order of the agenda upon a majority vote of the board. So to fill the next hour, if the board would like to make a motion to move forward and address items 17 through 23, you can certainly do that.
Do we have
I
a
would make
motion?
that motion.
Second.
Motion by DeSanto, second by Drews to go from 17 to 23 at this point on the agenda. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. First, we'll have 17A will be resolution to support participation in 2020 census. Ms. Holly.
Yes, Commissioners, at this time, I'd like to invite Mr. Robert Tim. He's the partnership specialist with the U.S. Census Bureau to come up and say a few words to the board. But what you have in front of you today is a resolution to support participation in the upcoming 2020 census. And I am more than happy to read that if the board wishes, but I will let Mr. Tim come up and say a few words.
Tim, if you could just tell us a little bit about the 2020 census for the public, why you do it, what information you need to put forth, or any other information that be pertinent for this census.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Holly. The 2020 census is upon us. My name is Rob Tim. I'm a partnership specialist with the United States Census Bureau. I have Western South Dakota and all of state government as well. The 2020 census starts on March 12th. And what will happen then is the web portal will open up, and it won't gobble up anybody, but it will actually be an opportunity for folks to respond online. And as you know, the census information is utilized by the Pennington County Commission. It's used by all of the governmental entities to for the simplest reason is to redistrict even your commission lines and things of that nature. And so, but the main reason we do the census is it's in the Constitution. and that everyone is counted once, only once, and in the right place. And so we certainly appreciate whatever the county commission can do to support the census, encourage individuals to complete their census online and help self-respond. What's going to happen following March 12th? Around mid-March, everyone that has an address where they receive their mail, they will get an invitation to respond. If you get your mail in a post office box, an individual from the Census Bureau will actually show up at your residence and drop off a form for you to complete. Because I could have a PO box in New York City if I wanted to. So I don't want to, but the bottom line, bottom line is we want to get as many people to self-respond as possible, because otherwise, if folks do not respond, then our enumerators, the door knockers, will be stopping by your house. And so we want to save the taxpayers as much money as possible, and so that we can get this self-response. South Dakota has always historically been up in the top 10 or 15% of the states that respond very, very well, and we want to continue to do that. And with that in mind, we have a certificate for you folks as a proud sponsor or proud partner of the United States Census Bureau. And Mike Beck is here, our media specialist, to take our pictures and spread it all over the place. So
Spread it all over.
is that what you do? Just spread stuff?
Rob, while we're coming down, when does the census actually end? When's the ending period for it?
End of July. And so the actual information from census has to be transmitted to the president by December 31st. That is in statute. That's the way it is, whether you like it or not.
Spread it all over.
Spread it all over.
Thank you, sir.
Spread it all over.
Sounds like Ramster.
What manure can we spread? Huh?
Thank you,
Yeah.
sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Wrong chair.
It's like musical chairs. We're trying to figure out where we sit now.
My
Thank you,
letters ain't
Tim,
that big.
for that information, sir. Number 18 would be,
Madam Chair, we need a motion to approve the resolution,
oh,
please.
sorry.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, motion carries. Thank you, Miss Holly. Mark, commission
Oh, hi.
report.
Yes, attended the weed and pest meeting last Wednesday. Basically, what we haven't heard already, as far as our working with the legislation, trying to get some of these government entities, taxing government entities resolved, which I don't believe it has been yet, but Gary will probably speak more on that. The weed and pest is done with the Edelweiss shaded fuel break project and have moved to the Norris Peak Road. They probably plan on spending 3 to 6 months on the Norris Peak Road project to get that completed, and then we'll see what else the Forest Service has us to do.
So Mark, sorry to interrupt you. How long did Edelweiss take?
2 years,
That's what I thought it was.
quite some time.
Yes, sir.
There were a few holdups during that period of time. But they accomplished a lot. I mean, those of us that went on the tour got to see what they had accomplished up there, and I believe that it's going to help. These shaded fuel break projects will help when it comes to snow on the road and getting things melted off, and it's going to be substantial as far as, and drifting as well, helps prevent drifting as well. So, and then we're purchasing one more four-wheeler. We've had a couple of four-wheelers that are older that are going down and are needing more repair. They're in the shop more often than they're out in the field. So we're going to get I believe a Honda Foreman is what they're purchasing this upcoming week. And so I'm sure Scott will be in front of us asking for permission to get that four-wheeler, and I recommend we do so. And as far as that's concerned, that's about it for right now.
The
We did have
fairground-
election of officers and everybody was reelected, so.
And the fairgrounds is having, I think, a Jurassic Park or something going on. Is it this month? Did you guys see that on TV?
No, we don't have our meeting until next Monday. So.
Okay. I just saw it was a big dinosaur thing for kids and people
That
to go
right?
see, so I thought that was pretty cool, and I didn't
Good.
catch the date is a bad thing, but I think it's this month, but it
Yeah.
looked pretty exciting, so.
Good. Well, they got lots of good things going on out at the fairground.
We do. Ron, Ross Connect?
I attended the Pennington County Council of Aging. We have a committee meeting once a month. Last meeting, we basically always talk about making sure that the seniors have enough to eat and transportation for medical needs and others. And then we had another meeting. We had that at the VIC Center in Hill City. This is more, it has to do with Asian, but it was part of our Economic Development Committee. And we met with Prairie Hills Transit. And I think we're going to get a bus in Hill City, and that will service the seniors in Hill City and the seniors in Keystone, give them transportation needs between Keystone and Rapid, and Keystone and Hill City to Rapid. Then relative to the building committee, we're looking out 20 years for future parking needs. So I'm doing some research on 3 options that this group's looking at. So other than that,
Nice.
not much.
Thank you, Ron. At this time, I didn't have any committees to attend because we switched a bunch of them and they are already done before, or you guys already had those before I became on that, or went on that committee. So I'll just refer to Gary Drews on his report.
Trying to get Janet down here.
While he's doing that, Madam Chair, I believe you're attending the Care Campus Executive Board meeting this week,
Tomorrow.
and I would also like to attend, so we don't have 3 of us winding up there.
Okay. Are you the alternate?
Mhm.
Cool.
Said you put it on me for the Big 5, is that what you did?
What time's that
What were you talking about? Would you
8
ask?
a.m.
You're doing Big 5.
I am, okay.
Okay.
So you're ready for me?
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
Thank you.
Yeah, because you attended and then
Yeah.
I did the interviews. Yep.
Do we do that quarterly?
Thursday.
Is that how often
Yeah.
we meet?
First Wednesday.
Big 5, which includes the city, the county, school district, School of Mines, and Western Dakota Tech, meet quarterly. We had our regular meeting last week, and part of the discussion obviously involved the school bond issue, which didn't get the 60% approval. And they will be bringing something back forward fairly quickly, it sounds like, on that. One of the other things of note is that Western Dakota Tech, which also apparently has its highest enrollment ever at this point in time, they will not be, after I think it's July 1st, they will not be under the local school district anymore, but they will be developing their own 9-member, I think it's a 9-member board. And also, as of that date, July 1, Western Dakota Tech also will become Western Dakota College at that point in time, too. So that's primarily what was the main discussion that took place. We talked about a lot of eternal things with planning with the city and so forth, with the 1 mile limit and so forth. But that's what really was the outcome of that meeting. Also, the building committee, which Ron and I normally attend after our commission meetings each time, continue to get the updates on what's happening as far as the jail, as far as the care campus is concerned. Everything is moving along, progressing as scheduled, including the parking lot area over here. And we also have a building that the county owns on the cross street that we've now moved everybody out of there because what was in there is now located over at the care campus. And so we're working on to, as to what's going to happen with that building for in the future. So that's basically my reports on committees.
Thank you. I have one thing, Ms. Holly, on the retreat, do we have a different time, meaning it was gonna be longer because of more issues, more things to discuss? And did everybody confirm on the retreat?
Yes, I have not heard from everybody in regards to items that they would like put on there.
Okay,
We have it starting at 9. Lunch is set for 12:30, and then whatever time we end up being done for the day. We
Okay.
didn't put an ending time on it.
okay, because it looks like we have a few things that people are adding and stuff to it, so just making sure that you booked out your day pretty much
Yes, the
for a
entire
retreat.
day for that
Okay.
one.
And anybody have any questions on that? For Ms. Holly or me, or Gary, or, okay?
No.
Thank you. Sorry, Commissioner LaCroy.
I guess the first one I have is the National Forest Board meeting. And at this meeting, I am an alternate that has to go through the same background check as the board meetings. But Bob was gone, so I sat in his place today, or the other day. And some of the hot topics that we discussed was the F3 Gold proposal, open house from January 16th, and Mineral Mountain proposal, Deer Valley land conveyance, Mount Rushmore fireworks on July 3rd, and veterans hiring. Those are hot topics that we had discussions on. Another deal, I'll kind of go into this, is one of the things that we discussed also after, with the mining stuff, were continued on to more discussion to next month to give more time. But one of the other regular agenda items that we started was on ethics, had discussion on ethics. The forestry board is an advisory board. You know, they don't make the decisions, and they wanted to make that clear that it's the forest superintendent who actually makes the decision, but the board is an advisory board. They don't, so that was gone over, and we were also discussed that as a board, when you're out in the public, just like as we are at the commission, you know, when you make your discussions and have your discussions, you're doing it on your part. Now that's the full board. And if I guess you know what I'm saying. And so that was part of the discussion of the Black Hills National Board meeting, is that that's how it should be, because there was some discussion on that. So, and then we also approved, so they gave the mineral withdrawal update and approved the plan of the motorized trail program recommendations. And they took reports from the legislators' updates, which was Thune's office. They had representatives, Dusty Johnson, and so forth, gave reports to the board. Other meetings that I attended was the Community Health Board meeting at noon. This was a special meeting. We had 3 individuals from out of state come in and do every 3 years for the grant money for the community health. They came in and they go over the books and evaluate the service, the quality control, and they wanted to meet with the board and have some discussions to find out if there was any problems. And then they'll give us a list of concerns that they'd like to see either worked on or fixed. So that was the purpose of that meeting.
Lloyd, I have a question.
Sure.
Do they talk about the coronavirus or anything for community health, and are they doing anything different, or they didn't discuss
At this meeting, that wasn't the
one of the
purpose of the
topics?
discussion. This was over the grant money for the operation of community health
Okay,
throughout the nation. They send them there to make sure they're following the lines and so forth. Tim, the director, I'm sure you guys have all gotten some of the emails of some of the precautionary stuff to do. That wasn't part of this discussion this week.
okay, thank you, sorry to interrupt you.
So that was for community health. Also attended the YFS policy board meeting, and also attended the the North Rapid Civic Association meeting, which was a good meeting. We heard some feedback from a couple of the school board members on how the election went and so forth. There's some great questions from the audience on that. The other big discussion was for that me and Lance, new city councilman Lehman, had discussed about the youth council, and we had some good discussions on affordable housing, and trying to figure out, well, just to enlighten some people. We've been around for a long time. Richie Norson was there, and we talked on affordable housing. A lot of people think we just need more manufacturing jobs and so forth, and we had some good discussions that pay. That was one of the things I brought up with Elevate Rapid City, and that's what I like about them is they identify that it's the pay that needs to go up. Housing costs are high. It costs money to build. It costs, you could subsidize them to get them to where a person making 35,000 can afford it, but you have to subsidize it. I mean, I was doing some numbers just this morning on affordable housing and on wages, and what one person making $35,000 could afford. I did the average wage for a school teacher. Our average started wage for that is $50,000. If you buy a $175,000 house, your payment is over half of your income, and by the time you take out the taxes, it's even less. And that's $50,000 for one person. With a $175,000 house, which they think is affordable, that's what we helped subsidize in the Hill City with the tip, or we proposed the approval of a TIF. We didn't propose it, but we did a resolution supporting the TIF for affordable housing. So I just ran some of those numbers and trying to figure this all out, and its bottom line is the wages need to come up. And I'll go more through that. I'll have some more time to study that, but I just wanted to, that's part of the discussion at the North Rapid Civic Association, trying to dissolve some of the discussion on affordable housing.
Thank you, Lloyd. I think it's huge. Income versus price of housing is huge. So I think you did the right thing by running those numbers in a sense to kind of see where they need to go. And there'll be a lot of discussion on that, but I agree with the income is a lot of it. So
Just one follow-up. I want to give you some of these numbers. At $16.50 an hour, if you're making $16.50, you're going to make $34,320. $16.50 in Rapid City is
high.
more than average for the average manufacturing job. I believe the sawmill in Hill City starting wage is 13. So I mean, you do some of these numbers, you can kind of see where the big difference is. So, and that's what I like about Elevate Rapid City is they see that, and they want, and that's why you see Western Dakota Vote Tech at such a high, big number now, because the plumbers, construction workers, and all of them are in such high demand. The wages are actually going up for wages for, they're actually doing interns where some people will hire them. Well, Mark talked about this. We'll train you as long as you do the contract for 2 years, and they're making good money. So, but those were some of the numbers that that $16.50 an hour, 320. You got to be up there close to 20. So
Nice.
just food for thought, folks.
Thank you, Lloyd.
Madam Chair,
Commissioner DeSanto.
I missed one point that at the Weed and Pest, we recently purchased a drone so that they could cover more area without sending a bunch of people out to cover those areas to locate where we might be having problems with invasive species. And Scott, this is kind of to exemplify when you work between entities, what you can accomplish. There's a particular program out there for drones. It's a rather expensive program, but it would be incredibly effective where you can program the drone remotely to cover a grid. So you don't actually have to fly it. You program it into the drone, and the drone goes out, flies at a certain level, and covers a large grid. Well, rather than coming immediately to us and asking us if we will pay for that program, Scott's going to the different entities, the city, the sheriff's department, to see if they already have the program that they could share with the county, or that we could utilize that program for our drone. So I think that's a great idea. It'll cut down on the number of man hours by a long shot if we are able to get that program and fly that drone remotely with one person operating it, rather than sending people out hiking through the hills, paying them by the hour to locate the invasive species problems that we have out in the Black Hills and around the county. So
Thank you, Mark. That's actually, Scott Guffey always has those innovative ideas to save taxpayer money, plus he's just the hardest working. I mean.
he loves his job.
Yeah, the passion that he has for his job is, I think that makes you just want to do more and more anyway, but, he does a really good job. I appreciate that input. So, anybody else? Did I miss anything? If not, Gary, the 2020 legislative session.
Okay, I'd like to ask our treasurer, Janet Saylor, to come up and give us the final deposition on her bill, House Bill 1079. Janet, would you come up?
Or Janet, you had some other information on other bills too that you looked at that didn't, pass, or anything that you think's pertinent, please.
Okay.
This is your chance to thank your sponsors for the bill and so forth too. So thanks, Janet.
Good morning, Janet Saylor, Pennington County Treasurer. House Bill 1079, as the commissioners are well aware, is a $25 admin fee for people that are doing title transfers from out of state. We took that to the legislature. Commissioner Hadcock and I went down and testified on the bill, and it passed out of the House, and it passed out of the Senate, and it is now sitting on the governor's office waiting to be signed.
Good job.
So we will have to go back and do a resolution on that again after the 1st of July, and the state's requesting that we do it 10 days prior to implementation because they want to put it on their website. I'm not sure, no one else does that, but I'm not sure why they're doing it, whose request that is. We did have another bill that we still have, and it's going to be testified on tomorrow, and that is on House Bill 1154. For the last couple years, we've had a legislator that's been trying to get license plates to be permanent. It was fought 2 years ago. Last year, they went back and they tried to amend it to 10 years. They had a lot of testimony on that. 3M was there. The House was packed. There was no way we could get it through at 10 years. And the last time, 15 years ago, we did have them at 10 years because they were implementing a new program, but they said that was too long. So we went back in again this year, and we amended the bill to 7 years. So now license plates will be issued every 7 years, which is a big help for Pennington County, because when that money stays in the revolving fund and it's not spent, it comes back to the county. So that's going to be quite a savings to
Yeah, that
Pennington
still
County.
needs final passage, correct?
It needs final passage. It's in committee tomorrow, and hopefully it was on the consent calendar in the House, so hopefully we'll have it on the consent calendar in the Senate. There's another House Bill 1248, and Joe Miller from the Highway Department, we found out about this, I think, at the last minute.
Yeah, Joe Miller, Pennington County Highway. Thanks to Janet, we did find out about this at the last minute. It was to ask legislators to lower the registration fees on older agricultural trucks or big semis. Just for instance, it was to make them all at $150, regardless of weight. So the big trucks that are doing the damage to our roads was going to cut approximately about $200,000 out of our budget if this were to pass. But it did die on the House floor with I don't recall how many votes, but it did die on the House floor. So appreciate Janet looking out for us and giving us a heads up that, hey, this is on the agenda. So
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
And I want to thank the legislators who voted for these bills and helped us to get them passed.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank
So
you.
just one thing, Janet actually did the lobbying down there for this, her bill. All I did was drive, and we had lots of compliments on her testimony. It was spot on, and straightforward. And at that committee, they asked many questions to her, and she answered them. And if I'm correct, everybody voted for it. And we had, I think, 3 of our legislators on that bill, or two, I'm sorry.
That's
Yep.
correct.
So she did an awesome job at her testimony. And I think when you do your testimony and you say fact and truth and you can answer those questions, I think it's a lot easier to move those bills forward. So give credit where credit's due. And Janet, you always do a great job when you have to testify for Pennington County, and we appreciate that.
Thank
Madam
you.
Chair.
Way to go, Janet.
Good job, Janet.
Thank
I
you.
believe House Bill 1079 was a much-needed bill, and thanks for your hard work on that.
Thank you. And it couldn't be put on the consent calendar because it was a fee. So that's why it had to go through the entire process.
Nice.
Okay,
Thank you.
thanks, Janet.
Go ahead.
I got 3 other bills to report on. First of all, Senate Bill 24, which is Scott Guffey has been working this bill. He's been lobbying relative to it. And it was in committee this morning, not sure exactly if it came out of committee or not. This is the bill that would increase the fee for pesticide application licenses, including those government employees. And our real question is why would the state add fees onto other government entities for these particular applicator licenses? So we're attempting to get that amended to get the government fees eliminated from that particular bill. Senate Bill 24 up before the committee this morning. It has already passed the Senate and is now over on the House side. Also, we have House Bill 1252, which was withdrawn by the sponsor. This was the one that Shannon was particularly interested in, would have provided some property tax relief to long-term elderly property owners. The biggest problem with this is that would have impacted those higher value, would have eliminated income as part of the requirement. So it could have reduced the amount of taxes from those higher value property homes where people have lived there for a long time, which was not the goal of the original legislation that was adopted to provide tax relief for elderly lower income. And then the last bill I have to report on is actually a governor's bill. It's Senate Bill 157. This bill was up, is going to be up before the House State Affairs Committee tomorrow morning at 7:30. This is that county zoning bill that the governor proposed to eliminate some of the time involved when you're bringing industry into a county, whether it's ag industry or other industry that's being set into the county. So this is a bill that I have worked on behalf of the governor's office. Also, unfortunately, I can't be there tomorrow to testify because we have another meeting tomorrow. So, but that's all I have to report on those. Take any
Madam
questions.
Chair.
Commissioner
Question
DeSantis.
for Gary. Gary, one concern that I have, because this happens way too often, is that people don't understand the bills, so they get upset when the bill gets voted down. Specifically, the one that you're talking about that was supposed to be a tax break for the elderly on their houses. A lot of people are not going to read the whole story, and they're going to think that we are against giving tax relief to the elderly. So do you know if that particular bill got much press to explain why it's not a good thing as written?
It did not. It did not get very much coverage.
So we're giving it some press right now. Uh, you, you know, there's just a lot of holes in some of these bills that don't achieve the goal that the bill was originally written for. And people just hear that a tax break for the elderly failed instead of hearing that it wasn't necessarily going to be a tax break for the elderly. So the more we discuss those kinds of things, the better, because then it helps our citizens understand the process and why things don't get voted in that some people may think, wow, that it should have been voted
Yeah,
in.
you're absolutely right, because the current law does provide for those tax breaks for the elderly
Yep.
with the lower income. This one would have provided the tax break for unlimited income, and so, and probably for some of the more expensive properties, which they really don't need the tax break on. The individuals that own those properties don't need those particular tax breaks. So, because we're talking probably $1 million+ homes.
So are they going to bring a bill back that better addresses at the
I
next
don't know what the
legislative
intent
session?
is. All I know is that it was withdrawn.
Okay. Thank you.
Madam Chair.
Commissioner LaCroy.
Just gonna follow up on that. I don't know if Janet's still here. She might have left, but Janet did give a presentation at North Rapids Civic Association about the tax freeze for elderly and the disabled and so forth. Handed out paperwork, did everything just last week to address that. And I'd just like to take a moment to show my appreciation to Gary, Holly, and the state association and everybody who follows these bills and makes them aware, just as Joe found out. If it wasn't for somebody around here watching these and seeing what's going on, they could go by pretty fast. And the work that they're doing is valuable. And I appreciate the time that you guys take to keep us informed and let us know. And I've sent out some emails on behalf of some of the bills, but I mean, if it wasn't for you guys informing us, I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Lloyd. I have to agree. Thank you for all your work, Ms. Holly and Gary and Janet and anybody else who's been informing us and keeping us on top of these bills. It makes a huge difference for us, and I agree with you, Commissioner LaCroy. Thank you. Next be item 21, approval of the vouchers.
So approve.
Moved by Roskinek, second by Drews. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
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 All opposed? Motion carries. Item 22, items from the public. Anybody like to speak today? Mr. Richard?
Come on, Dan, we haven't heard from you in a long time.
Okay, if not, it looks like we need a break until 10:30, if I'm correct, Holly?
You do have an executive session
Oh, I'm sorry.
for personnel.
I thought it
I
said.
would make a motion, we go to executive session for personnel.
Moved by Gary to go into executive session, second by Ross Connect. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Let's go ahead and go into, do you have a motion to go into, or
I'd move that we come back to regular session.
motion to come back from executive session?
Second.
Motion by Drew, second by Ross Connect. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Next, we go into Board of Adjustment. Do we have a motion?
Move to go into Board of Adjustment.
Motion by DeSanto.
Second.
Second by Drews. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Good morning, Christina Proetti, County Planner. This morning, we're revisiting the Sabo Subdivision Regulations Variance 20-01. It's item A. So you know, the representatives, the engineer and the surveyor are here in the audience today.
Okay.
So on January 20th, 2020, the applicants, Mr. and Mrs. Sabo, applied for a layout plan to rezone in a subdivision's regulation variance to waive road improvements to Martin Ranch Trail, percolation tests and soil profile hole information, and dedication and improvements to the section line right-of-way. The subject property is currently zoned as general agricultural district with no special flood hazard area. Structures present On tax ID 42815, this large one here. We have a 40 by 60 pole barn structure, a single-family residence with an attached garage, and there is an on-site wastewater treatment system construction permit and a current operating permit for that. There's also another garage/storage structure on the property. On this lot right here, tax ID 42816. That one is vacant of any structures. And the one adjacent to that, tax ID 61562, has a 36 by 50 shop with living quarters, an on-site wastewater treatment system construction permit, and current operating permit. All three proposed lots are able to gain access from the existing Martin Ranch Trail located within the Martin Ranch Trail Road District, and there is an existing easement for access to all three lots. This was routed through the interdepartmental review, and there are no other items of concern from the review.
Thank you, Christina.
Thanks.
Superintendent Joe Miller, we had, some of us had you go out there and work with the applicant. Did you come up with some solutions on that with the applicant, Joe?
We have talked to Mike Toohey, KTM, who's the engineer on the project here, or on the this item. Mark and I did go out and take a look at it. We took some pictures while we were out there here. This is just kind of in order here. This is at the top of the Martin Ranch Trail. Going in, this is kind of where Martin Ranch Trail private drive starts. Just kind of going in there.
And how wide is that road?
On average, it's 16 foot currently.
Okay.
When you get towards the end, it gets narrow. When it comes into, what is it, Pluna's driveway, Mike? Yeah. Pluna's driveway, at the very end of it. So, in our talks with Mike, from KTM, it is our opinion that, we would not be opposed to leaving the road the way it is currently. But if there is any future subdivision of the lots, that would require improvement to the road.
Okay. So basically Martin Ranch Trail is approximately 10 to 13 feet wide.
No, it is
That's
currently 16 feet wide,
Yep.
on average. And then towards the end here, I'll show you kind of where it gets narrow. Right here is kind of where it gets narrow. This is where it almost bumps out near the section line. If we go back to her presentation here, it is kind of right here in this curve where it gets kind of narrow back towards their driveway. There's no residence beyond here, and there's currently no road in this easement either.
Okay, and the dedication and improvements to section line right away,
It just touches the right of way. The only place it touches the section line is right here, and it is only for a very short period of time, so we don't oppose leaving it as 16 foot, so.
thank
Show
you.
me again, Joe, where that touches.
Just right on the right corner there.
Right here, so this is the section line.
Okay.
There's a private access easement. This parallels it all the way up here, and it, due to the geographic constraints, is why I believe is probably why it went into this section line. So if you go back, this is where it comes into the section line. This is a deep ravine on the left-hand side here. I didn't get out and measure how deep it was, but it went down there a long ways. So to fill that in, to get this off of the section line, would cost quite a bit of money. But in the future, there is room to expand it in this direction, if need be, so.
Madam Chair.
Commissioner LaCroix.
Joe, what was that added condition that you just said?
Say that one more time, Mark.
What was that condition that you just talked about that you and Mark decided that was any future
subdivision of the land, so I think they're currently going, Mike, correct me if I'm wrong, from 7 to 8. 8 to 7 lots, so they're actually consolidating lots out there. So any future subdivision, any future platting on this property or properties would require the road to be upgraded.
To county standards.
Correct.
Okay. Did you get all that, Lloyd?
trying?
Madam Chair.
Commissioner Drews.
So of the 7 lots, how many have been developed then?
There's only like 3 residences out there, I believe.
Okay, that's what I thought.
2.
Okay.
There's 2 residents.
Okay.
All right.
Let me see if I got this right. Sorry.
Go ahead, Commissioner LaCroix.
Any future subdivision would require road improvement?
Yes.
Okay.
Up to county standards.
To ordinance 14 standards, if you want to put that
Yeah.
in.
Up to ordinance 14 standards.
Okay.
Madam Chair,
Commissioner
I move to
Roskinek.
approve with one more stipulation.
Second.
Move to approve with what?
With that added stipulation.
Okay, so you're changing number 1 to that stipulation, right? And then we have 2, which is percolation, and 3 with dedication improvements to a section line, right? Okay, so it'd be just 3 still.
Right.
Okay. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, motion carries. Do you still want to speak? I would think so. Well, and I thought that's what you were here for, because I think that's what, when we're talking to you guys, we try to find solution with people and not shut down. So, we just sent Joe and their highway out there, to make sure that we were doing it right. So, we appreciate you guys coming in, and we're not as hard as you think we are. But thank you very much, folks. Have a
Thank
great
you.
day. Okay, motion to close Board of Adjustment,
So move.
Second.
moved by LaCroy and second by Roskinek. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, motion carries. Ms. Brittany, consent agenda?
Brittany Molitor, Interim Planning Director. The Board of Commissioners uses a consent agenda to act on non-controversial and routine planning and zoning items quickly. The consent agenda is acted upon by one motion and vote of the board. Items may be removed from the consent agenda and placed on the regular agenda at the request of a board member or a citizen. The consent agenda for planning and zoning contains the following 2 items. Item B is second reading of Major Plan Unit Development Amendment PU 1909 for Donna Hartshorn, and approval is recommended. Item C is second reading of Plan Unit Development PU 1905 for Rockerville Goldtown LLC, Pat Hall, Brian Hammerback as the agent, and approval is recommended.
Okay. At this time, is there members of the public who wish to remove any items from the planning consent agenda? Yes. Come on up, sir. Your name, sir?
Brian Hammerback is my name. We're basically asking to move item C to, is it 2 weeks, Brittany, from today?
To continue for 2 weeks?
Yes.
To remove item C to allow it to be continued so we could do further discussion.
Okay. So,
So, Madam Chair,
Commissioner Drews,
I'd make a motion that we approve the consent calendar for item B.
Second.
motion by Drews, second by LaCroy to approve item B on the consent agenda. All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, motion carries. Item C, Commissioner Drews.
I would make a motion that we continue that to March, what's the date, Brittany?
17th. March 17th.
March 17th?
So item C is by Drews is to continue till March 17th, and a second by LaCroy. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, motion carries. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Move the exit. Oh, no, we ain't in.
Regular, okay. Regular agenda item D, please.
Sorry, we just do need to ask for any discussion on that previous item before we made a motion, and so it needs to be, like, if there's anyone from the public or there's any discussion on that item.
Is there any people, any of the public who wish to remove any item, like talk about item C on the consent agenda today that we had missed? If not, we'll go ahead and move on. Thank you, Brittany, for reminding me. Item D, Miss Christina.
Good morning, Christina Proetti, County Planner. Thank you. So item D is layout plan 20-02. This again is the Sabo lots that we were previously talking about for the subdivision regulations variance. So again, on January 20th, 2020, the applicants, Mr. and Mrs. Sabo, requested to reconfigure lot lines on the subject properties to create 3 lots. Proposed lot 1 will have approximately 55.47 acres. Proposed lot 2 will have approximately 95.95 acres, and proposed Lot 3 will have approximately 10.5 acres. The subject properties are currently zoned as General Agricultural District, and there's no special flood hazard area on any of the properties. Structures present. Would you like me to go over that again? I did list them last time, but I can restate it if you
No,
want.
I think we're okay, Christine.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, so all 3 lots are able to gain access from the existing Martin Ranch Trail Road. They have an existing easement, we just discussed that. This was routed through the interdepartmental review, and there were no other comments or concerns from anyone.
Thank you. Is there a motion or discussion?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Roskinick to approve,
Second.
second by LaCroy. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, motion carries. Did I miss anybody in the public who wanted to speak? Item E, first reading, public hearing, rezone, Gordon and Jennifer Sabo.
All right, item E is the rezone request for the lots previously mentioned. Lot 3, the one that's currently zoned as General Agricultural District, will be approximately 10.05 acres, give or plus. So it would need a rezone. The applicants are requesting to rezone that to Limited Agricultural District. The surrounding areas are currently general agriculture. There's a little PUD in the lower left-hand corner, and then limited agriculture. The future land use would be limited agriculture, planned unit development, and some public lands. So it is in harmony with the future land use.
Thank you. Do we have a motion?
Move
So
for
moved.
approval.
Moved by DeSanto, second by Drews. Any discussion? Anybody from the public? Not? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Item F, please.
Good morning. Item F is Comprehensive Plan Amendment CA 20-01 to amend the comprehensive plan to change the future land use from highway service district to a plan unit development district. At this time, staff is recommending that we continue this till the March 17th, 2020.
So moved.
Board of
Second.
Commissioners
Moved by
meeting.
DeSanto, second by Drews. Is there anyone from the public who would like to speak? Not? All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, motion carries. Item G.
Item G is Planned Unit Development, PU 1906, to create or change, or excuse me, to amend an existing planned unit development. And staff is recommending that this be continued to the March 17th, 2020 Board of Commissioners meeting.
So moved.
Motion by DeSanto, second by Drews. Anybody from the public would like to speak? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. Item H
Item,
is.
oops, sorry.
Go ahead, honey. Is a motion to continue this item till March 7th, 2020, meeting for a final consideration and approval.
April 7th.
What?
April 7th, 2020.
Did I say April 7th?
Oh, March.
Wow. Okay, till March, or said it again, April 7th. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by DeSanto,
Second.
second by LaCroy. Discussion, Ms. Brittany?
No, we just got the final document for this with all of the changes that you guys had made a Thursday before the last planning commission meeting. So it is now posted in its entirety on the web and the View to 2040 with all of the changes that you guys had made and the planning commission had made. So the final document is available for viewing. So the planning commission can look at and approve the final document as
Madam
it's
Chair.
been written.
Thank you. Commissioner Drews?
So Brittany, do we have to do any re-advertising of any of this relative to?
Yes, we are
Okay.
re-advertising for the planning commission meeting and your meeting.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone from the public would like to speak on our comprehensive plan? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries.
Move to adjourn.
Move to adjourn by Commissioner LaCroy.
Did we do the budget or the bill?
Yep.
Yeah.
We did that? Okay.
Second by Drews. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed,
Put words in my mouth.
motion carries. We're adjourned. Thank you.